I am Dr. Rebecca Sloan, an evidence-based men's vitality specialist. Most men assume that waking up without that natural morning fullness is just a quiet consequence of getting older, an inevitable biological fade. But from a clinical perspective, that absence is often the earliest, most reliable biomarker that your overnight vascular repair system has been compromised. The way you transition from deep sleep to waking consciousness directly dictates the hormonal cascade that determines whether you experience robust morning rigidity or troubling softness. Let me explain exactly what the research reveals about how the mechanics of your morning routine are either protecting your baseline vascular health or actively dismantling it. Before we dive into exactly how your sleep-to-wake transition impacts your overnight vascular repair, a quick private note. If you are a man over 35 struggling with declining firmness, unpredictable performance, or a silent loss of confidence in the bedroom, and you want to restore your natural blood flow and feel like yourself again, I recorded a private, unlisted video explaining exactly how to do that. The link is in the pinned comment below. Morning wood, or nocturnal penile tumescence as it is clinically defined, is not about arousal. It is a biological maintenance cycle. During RREM sleep, your brain downregulates the sympathetic nervous system, the stress response, allowing parasympathetic dominance. This shift triggers the release of nitric oxide, which relaxes the smooth muscle within the corporal tissue of the penis, flooding it with oxygen-rich blood. This process is essential for maintaining the elasticity and health of that specific vascular network. It is your body's way of ensuring the tissue remains viable and responsive. When men stop experiencing this regular nocturnal engorgement, it is not simply an annoyance. It is a clinical indicator that this crucial overnight repair mechanism is failing, often due to an accumulation of microvascular damage or a disruption in the delicate hormonal balance required to trigger it. The common fundamental error most men make is believing that morning erections are tied to morning libido. They wake up, feel nothing, and mistakenly conclude their drive is fading with age. They fail to understand the biological reality. The presence or absence of that morning rigidity is primarily a measure of nocturnal endothelial function and autonomic nervous system balance, not how much you desire intimacy at 7 a.m. This misconception leads men to ignore the absence of morning fullness for years, dismissing it as normal aging while the underlying vascular or hormonal issues quietly compound, making restoration significantly harder down the line. Most men wait too long because they think silence protects pride. Because the clinical protocol for addressing this foundational vascular and hormonal health properly goes well beyond what I can responsibly cover in a public video, I recorded a completely private masterclass walking you through exactly what the research supports and how to apply it. I explain the comprehensive, evidence-based approach to restoring natural rigidity and protecting that vital endothelial function that simply cannot be summarized in a short YouTube clip. I left the secure link in the pinned comment for you to watch now. But for those staying, let me give you the critical adjustments you need to make to your morning routine, backed by research, that you can start applying immediately to protect this biological maintenance cycle. The first crucial adjustment concerns the immediate moments after you open your eyes. The sharp, jarring sound of a traditional alarm clock forces your body from deep sleep, or REM, directly into a state of acute stress. This sudden spike in cortisol and adrenaline instantly activates your sympathetic nervous system. The immediate physiological consequence of this stress response is peripheral vasoconstriction. Your blood vessels rapidly constrict, instantly shutting down the parasympathetic dominance required to maintain or initiate morning tumescence. You are quite literally shocking the blood out of the tissue. If you rely on a blaring alarm, you are systematically destroying the hormonal environment needed for natural morning rigidity. Transition to a wake-up light or a gentle, progressive sound that allows your body to emerge from sleep without triggering an acute fight or flight response. The second major error is reaching for your phone before your feet hit the floor. The moment you begin scrolling through emails, news, or social media, you are artificially spiking cortisol levels. This premature stress load further suppresses testosterone production, which naturally peaks in the early morning hours and is vital for maintaining the structural integrity of the erectile tissue over time. Moreover, the blue light from the screen disrupts the natural decay of melatonin and the corresponding rise in daytime hormones, creating a state of hormonal confusion right when your body should be optimizing for vitality. Give your body at least 30 minutes of screen-free time after waking to allow your natural endocrine rhythms to establish themselves without artificial interference. This kind of evidence-based conversation about men's health should be available to every man who needs it. Subscribe if you value clinical reality over internet speculation. The third adjustment is about immediate hydration and light exposure. Your body is dehydrated after 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Blood volume is lower, and blood viscosity is higher, making vascular flow more difficult. Drinking 12 to 16 ounces of water immediately upon waking helps restore that volume and improves the rheology, the flow characteristics of your blood. Simultaneously, you need natural light exposure to the eyes within the first 30 minutes of waking. This light exposure signals the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain to fully halt melatonin production and properly calibrate your circadian rhythm, ensuring that the hormonal cascade necessary for robust nocturnal erections the following night is correctly timed and initiated. A disrupted circadian rhythm is a primary driver of declining nocturnal tumescence. Understanding this biological reality is the difference between proactively managing your vitality and passively accepting its decline. The loss of morning fullness is a conversation your body is trying to have with you about your vascular health and autonomic balance. Ignoring it because of misplaced embarrassment or flawed assumptions about aging only allows the underlying dysfunction to deepen. When you correct the mechanical errors in how you start your day, you give your body the physiological space it needs to perform its natural maintenance. What happens in the bedroom rarely starts in the bedroom. It starts with how you manage the biological systems that support it. The mechanics of how you transition from sleep to wakefulness are not trivial. They are the physiological trigger for the hormonal and vascular responses that dictate your vitality. A strong man is not the one who ignores the problem. It is the one who finally faces it. You now understand the clinical reality of why that morning fullness disappears, and the basic steps required to protect the environment necessary for its return. But understanding the routine is only the beginning. Reversing years of accumulated vascular stress and hormonal disruption requires a specific, clinically sound approach that goes far beyond managing your alarm clock. Because of the density of that clinical information, and the increasing demand from men seeking actual evidence-based restoration rather than superficial fixes, I cannot guarantee how much longer the comprehensive protocol will remain accessible in the private masterclass. The biological window for easy restoration does not stay open forever, and neither will that video. Go to the pinned comment and watch that private video right now before I have to take it down. I'll see you there. What is one habit you currently have in the first 30 minutes of waking that you now realize might be spiking your cortisol and killing your morning vascular function? Tell me in the comments.